Okay, we're starting. I hope it's inspiring theme for you. Because the devotee inspired me to speak about envy today. And for that, I chose one verse from Bhagavad Gita, 3:37, very famous verse. I think our Bhakti Shastris, they know which I mean. It is an answer to Arjuna's question. So Arjuna asked Krishna that what is the cause of someone's sinful activities? Right? Why a person, even unwillingly, will be forced to engage in some not proper activity, some sinful activity, and it seems that it's like done by force, right? That the person has no control or no what do you call no free will to act. So then Krishna answered him in a very famous verse, which is Kama esha krodha esha rajoguna samudbhavaha mahashano mahapapma vidyenam iha vairinam. It is last only Arjuna, which is born of contact with the material mode of passion and later transformed into wrath, which means anger, and which is the all-devouring sinful enemy of this world. So, you may wonder why we're supposed to speak about envy and getting free from envy, and I chose such a verse, right? Let me read something of Bhagavata of Prabhupada purport here. That when a living entity comes in contact with the material creation, his eternal love for Krishna is transformed into lust, in association with the mode of passion. Or in other words, the sense of love of God being transformed into lust, as milk in contact with sour tamarind is transformed into yogurt. Then again, when lust is unsatisfied, it turns into wrath, means anger. And anger is transformed into illusion. Illusion continues the material existence. This we know from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verses 60, I think 1, 2, something like that. 61, 62. And then Prabhupada writes here that the origin of everything is the Supreme Brahman. Therefore, the origin of lust is also the Supreme. If therefore lust is transformed into love for the Supreme, or transformed into Krishna consciousness, or in other words, desiring everything for Krishna, then both lust and anger can be spiritualized. A very interesting statement of Prabhupada. And everything comes from Supreme, from the Supreme Brahman. So it's also lust and everything else. So how we come from the lust to envy? So first of all, when we speak about the lust, when Prabhupada speaks about lust, he doesn't mean necessarily like sexual desires. No, that's what we mostly think about. Lust means, something to do with sex in this world. But Prabhupada very often means by that all kinds of sense gratification, of all kinds of desiring to enjoy independently from Krishna. That's Prabhupada's how Prabhupada very often uses that word. And this propensity to enjoy comes, of course, with us from the spiritual world into the material world. And it manifests in propensity to control. Okay. That is like the biggest sense gratification. We spoke about this a little bit on Thursday in Radhadesh. That the biggest enjoyment in this material world is to control, to control someone. And even the sexual desires, they can be conquered, they can be given up. But the desire to control over the material energy and control over others, especially, it is very, very strong. It is very deeply rooted in our hearts. And as we know, when we fall down from spiritual world, every one of us has a different cause for falling down. Prabhupada sometimes speaks about it, Bhaktivinoda Thakur also, that is because of envy. We are envious of Supreme Lord, therefore we fall down. But what exactly is this envy? It looks like different people, they have different manifestation of that envy. So sometimes it can be, well, Krishna is showing you what you could do with him in spiritual world, and you think, oh, I don't think so. I could, I have another idea. Like why should I be older gopi? Then you have to do your duty, churning yogurt and wash the clothes and clean the palace and whatnot, right? So it's like, I don't want to be older gopi. I could be smaller gopi, right? Like Saki, or even a lot smaller, like Manjari. Or I would like to be a cowherd boy, just run around with Krishna and steal yogurt, make kaok in Vrindavan, and the older gopis, they should clean it, right? So yes, in this way we try to from the beginning, so to say, control Krishna, control something else. Or we have our own ideas. Oh, Krishna, this pastime which you fought here, they are not that perfect. They are not that good. So maybe you listen to my ideas. Okay, well, I think it should be like that, like that. Okay, so that controlling tendency can be there from the beginning. Okay, and then we come here, and then now we fight for control. We fight for control. The more we control, the more we actually want to control. Like who was that? I think I have a quote here. Just a second. I have to switch. No, I don't, unfortunately. But there is written, I forgot which book it is written, that the whole world, whatever it is, gold, it is women or men, it is food, it is palaces, and everything else. Okay, so the whole world is not enough for one person, right? So it means if we have this desire to enjoy, to control, then even if we get the whole world, still we won't be satisfied. We want more. It's like Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyakashipu, he had everything. Okay, no one had more in this universe practically than Hiranyakashipu. No? If he wanted to have mango, he just said, "Let there be mango," and the demigod who was responsible for creating the mangoes and he had nothing to say. It was out of the season. It was whatever. They had to supply him mangoes at the time. And he wanted more and more and more. So that's the statement that the whole world is not enough for one who has not controlled senses. It will be not enough because we will be always wanting more. Whatever situation is there, we want always to find some better situation. So from this desire to control, there where the envy is born, because we want to control everything. We want to control our environment, our people, And if somebody can do better than us, then we feel this kind of, oh, why is not me? Why is he or she? Okay. And Srila Prabhupada says about envy, that envy, it is being a state of being unhappy with others' good fortune. Okay. Prabhupada sometimes use is being malicious about others' good fortune and other progress. You know? So we see someone who is doing better than us, and we feel like unhappy about that. Okay, that's like soft envy. But we can also become malicious. We can become, malicious is words like become, what is the other word for that?
Mean.
Mean, yes. Thank you. we can become mean. No, we can try to pull this other person down. We can try to make some politics, or we try to destroy the other person. No? Because the other person is happy, and I'm not as happy as it seems like this person is. Okay? Can be, of course, our mind, because our mind will always tell us we have too little, others have too much. So doesn't matter where it comes from. That is the feeling that pops out in our heart. That's the envy. And in this state of being envious, we focus on others. How you say? On others' people blessings instead of ourselves. Okay, you understand it? No? That means not ourselves, but our own blessings. No? So doesn't matter how much we have, how much happy we are. If you see that someone else is happy, we will be focusing on that. Okay, why he's happy? No, like no, it will not be enough for us that we are happy, but we will be thinking, okay, this person looks be more happy than me. Why is it? No? So we ignore all the good stuff that we have, and we focus on other people. Why? What they have? What is better? No, what more they have? What more money? Everything. Okay, like that. So so we lose how you say the vision of the reality. Instead of seeing the things the way they are, we will be imagining things. We'll be creating problems and troubles in our mind. We will be always somewhere out there. So so first, very important thing about noticing that kind of mentality, noticing the envy in our heart, is to see, okay, where am I at the moment? Where's my consciousness? Okay, it is out there, by other people, or actually I can withdraw it and starting to see myself as I am. And the first step now to conquer the envy in our heart would be to actually turn the envy into appreciation. Okay, also turn everything actually into appreciation. Yeah. So if I see that someone is has more money than me, I may start to think, wow, he's so expert. Okay, he or she is doing something really good. So in this way, we can try to turn this thinking, the thinking about bad way about others, or bad way about this material world. We can start to try to turn it into something positive. Of course, at the beginning it can be artificial, the envy, pain, maybe still there. Okay, you may feel, oh, okay, I'm happy for you, but inside I think, oh, you die. Okay. So at the beginning it will be artificial, but with the progress, with praxis, we may start to think, okay, why actually I'm saying at least, or thinking well about that person. Okay. So at the beginning it will be artificial. We may say one thing and think another, but when we practice it, after some time, you will start to wonder, okay, why am I actually wishing well to this other person? Okay, it's like sometimes there's this couple therapy, and the therapist tells to the couple, okay, you just say thank you all the time, throughout the whole day to the other person. Okay, so at first the couple do it like artificially, but they still do it because the therapist said it, and so on. And after some time, they start to think, okay, why actually am I thanking? Oops, I'm actually thanking this other person. Mhm. What is happening here? Okay, and with that, you start to think deeply about the qualities of the other person. It's like, okay, I'm thanking this person because, well, I like her, or because she cooked a nice meal, or because she cooked, or she cleaned the house, and so on. And in this way, the gratitude and appreciation will grow. Okay, so this will be like a really first step in conquering the envy in our heart, and start to appreciate other people, and start to feel the gratitude to the others. Yeah. In that way, we will not be focusing on their good fortune and on that what we don't have, but start to see the good qualities in others. Okay, it will be like that. To be actually successful in cleaning our heart of envy, first we have to, there's many steps we can do, but a very important thing is we should actually avoid those people who value wrong things. Okay, if we associate with the people who value, like, being angry or being envious or being lusty, being greedy, if they appreciate the egos of other people, we will never we will never learn actually to have a different vision. I was curious what our secular world says about envy and how to get rid of envy. So I googled it a little bit today, and I found amazing stuff actually. Because there's like many people speaking about how to get rid of envy. Uh-huh. And what they mostly recommend, most of them, and there's like few main points in this, what they say is to make your ego grow bigger. Yes, they don't put it like I've just put it very direct. But when you read the points, how they say, do this and this and this and that, most of them are, make your ego bigger. Think about yourself that you are better, like that. No? Think what you all have and others don't have, and so on and so forth, So it's actually, you pump your ego, then you start thinking about yourself. You're greater than them. You don't have to be envious. Yes, sure, it works. But we as Vaishnavas, do we really want that? Do we want our ego grow bigger? Usually our egos are pretty big already, and we actually try to do something else, try to diminish them, try to make smaller. Okay. So I don't think that's advice that we could use a lot, from the secular world. So we have to look at Vaishnava, point of view. What is envy and how to get rid of it? And a very nice quote from Prabhupada I have here. A devotee asked Prabhupada, how do we become free of envy? Prabhupada said, you don't become envious to your spiritual master. Then you will become free from envy. As soon as you become envious to your spiritual master, then you will begin envious. Okay, this is Prabhupada's speech, not very grammatical. No. So Prabhupada said, don't be envious of your spiritual master, right? As a first thing. If you become envious of your spiritual master, then this is envy. You cannot get free of that. No. So that's a very, very deep point that Prabhupada makes here. Okay. Yeah, it has to do with so many of the material qualities and material consciousness. Because the spiritual master, he is first of all a representative of God here. We should worship spiritual master as a God, so to say, on the same level as God. And most of us don't want to do it. Actually, even Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he made a whole, how you say, a whole system, or many categories, so to say, of disciples who are not actually making spiritual progress. I think that's a really big subject here. I don't want to go now somewhere else. But there's many kinds of disciples that are how you say, don't look what is inside. They look what is outside, and they look what they can get from the relationship with a spiritual master. Like, well, if the spiritual master is praising me because I did something good, well, then I'm there. If I can take picture with spiritual master and show others, this is my spiritual master and that's me. I'm so advanced with my guru. And so on and so forth. There's many categories like that. So those people, they focus on the outside. What they can get from the spiritual master. And that is already envy. Right there. Because I want to be like the spiritual master. Now, when my spiritual master leaves, then I will show this picture to everyone. So, see, I was here. I'm very advanced. Yes, I want to take the position of a spiritual master. I want to be the control of the disciples. Like that. So Prabhupada speaks here. You want to be free of envy. You cannot be envious of your spiritual master. Right? And I have another interesting quote here from Prabhupada. What said? Anusuya. Anusuya means who is never envious. A devotee is never envious. A non-devotee is always envious. Their business is to become envious. Because they are envious to Krishna, they are envious to everyone. And the devotee, because he loves Krishna, he loves everyone. This is the philosophy. Okay. And in the transcendental world, the devotee is never envious of another devotee on account of his excellence, but on the contrary, if a devotee finds some excellence in other devotees, he eulogizes the devotee, admitting his own subordinate position. Okay, this is really complicated sentence here. But what Srila Prabhupada means here is that in spiritual world, that if somebody sees another devotee who excels in inequalities or excesses in service to Krishna, instead of being envious, this devotee praise the other devotee. And in this way, say by praising this other person, this other devotee, you submit. You submit. You say, okay, I'm in subordinate position. Okay, you are greater than me. Well, it's great. Yeah. So Prabhupada writes further here. Although in the spiritual world there is no such concept of subordination, still devotees, on account of being very humble and meek, think that way. That's from letter to Satsvarup, someone wants to read. Yeah. So Prabhupada writes that even in spiritual world, there is no this concept of subordination, that someone is lower and sometimes is higher. Now, everybody wants to serve Krishna, and if the devotees see that someone is serving Krishna, they actually become inspired, right? And they praise others and they help others to serve more. So that is how we can actually start to work on ourselves, on our envy in our heart. Because if we find someone that we're envious about, the best way is always to serve such a person. Okay. And first, it can be materialistic. Okay, like I'm serving this person, I'm trying to conquer my own envy, my own wrongdoings, and so on. And I don't want to criticize that person, so I'm trying to serve. Okay, and what when we do that, now first thing that we notice is that this person is also not so great as we thought before. Okay, which may be a good, maybe bad thing, depends how we take it, in how we use it. Okay, so let's say we take it in a good side here. So we see that this person also has different problems or different disturbances in their minds. They're somehow unhappy maybe, or they are not so skilled and they have to also struggle. They have some inside battle going on for them. So we notice, I thought I was envious about the person, but there is no need because I see he or she is struggling as me. So that is still material view. It's still very material view, but it can help us to overcome some envy. And as we serve further to this person, and if we are focused on making progress, we may start to develop the compassion in our heart. And as is actually the key of how to get rid of envy forever. By being compassionate and being kind. That is the main quality. There's two qualities. If you want to really progress, if you want to go above our false ego, we have to understand two things. That's Sri Baladeva Vidyabhushana writes in his commentary to Bhagavad Gita. We have to understand two things. That Krishna is just and kind. Okay? Just means he's fair to everyone. And he is kind. Okay. Those qualities in Krishna are not easy to recognize for a conditioned soul, for an envious person, because conditioned soul will always be pointing with the fingers. Okay, who is guilty for my suffering? Who made me suffer? Okay, and they will be looking for other people, to other people, to other, to demigods, to bacteria. Okay. And ultimately to God. The God makes me suffer. No? No? We see in so many movies, if somebody watches the movies sometimes, like, why God? Why me? Okay. Why the bad things happen to good people? I'm a good person. I'm good people. Why this is happening to me? Okay, they're complaining. And why he or she has more than me? This person is so envious and is demoniac and doing everything wrong, and he's so rich and has all the followers, and me, I'm the good guy. I have nothing from that. So always blaming. you know we have to go really deeply, reach really deep in our heart to actually understand that Krishna is just, and he is fair, and he is kind to everyone. If you look in material way on our life and everybody else around us, we will never understand it. We have to go really deep in our heart and look for this spark in ourselves. We have the spark. We have this. We have the memory, so to say, of being together with Krishna. Okay. And then the more we get purified, the more we Cheto Darpana Marjanam, our heart, our mirror of the heart, becomes cleaner. The deeper we can go, and we can look for this memory of being together with Krishna and feeling his kindness. Okay? And once we had just little, I'm not speaking now about full Krishna conscious realization. I'm just speaking about having just little touch of that kindness of Krishna, that we really understand how kind he is. That he is actually even suffering that we are not there, but here still he is supplying for us whatever we want, whatever we need. We turn away from him, and he is still supplying us everything what we want and what we need. He's taking care about us all the time. And the more we understand how kind he is, the less envious we will be. Okay? And then we also start to become kind to others. Okay? Because that is the ultimate tool to defeat enviousness, envy. Okay? To to start to become kind. And we can also try to do it outwardly as well as inwardly. Okay, we go in and try to connect to this kindness inside our hearts, the kindness of Krishna, and outwardly we can try to be kind, to speak nicely, kind words to everyone. Okay, to be nice, not to be angry. Like Lord Chaitanya did. We had just Gaura Purnima, and when we study how Lord Chaitanya was dealing with different kind of people, he was always kind. He was always trying to do something good for others. Even if he was defeating someone, he did it in a very sweet and kind way. And maybe some of you heard it from me already, but for me, one day I got really this big realization of kindness, how to be kind and so on. And at this time, I went back really in my life to so many troubles, to so many things that happened to me in my past. And I could track every single trouble that I had, problem, and whatever else in my life. And I could track the cause of that. And it was always that I wasn't kind in some way or another. I didn't take this 5 extra minutes, or maybe 5 seconds sometimes, or 10 seconds, okay, to be with someone and to be kind to that person. And later it just backfired. And all kinds of biggest problems and troubles that I had in my life, it was because of that. That I just wasn't kind. And this realization really helped me to change my heart. And I'm sure if you everybody of you did similar how I say regression in your lives, you would come to similar realizations. Maybe not everyone, but maybe like 90% or 80% of the problems that happened to you, they were caused by your lack of kindness. So that is how you have to go around. Bhaktivinoda Thakur was asked a question: why Vaishnava Dharma is non-envious religion? Okay, and listen to the answer, very interesting answer. That Vaishnava Dharma, which consists of compassion for the fallen souls, okay, the Vaishnava Dharma is compassion for the fallen souls, eagerness in chanting the Lord's holy names, and serving the Vaishnavas. Okay, so this Vaishnava Dharma stands on one side and the envy stands on the other side. So these are the opposites. No, they can never be together. Yeah. So that is what Bhaktivinoda Thakur says about it. Yeah. And we see the big Vaishnavas like Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad Maharaj in 5th canto prays that Kalau Prashedatam. He says that may all the envious persons be pacified. So the world is full of envious persons, but if one frees himself of envy, he becomes really liberal in his social dealings and can think of others' welfare. Okay, it's like we cannot think of others' welfare when we are envying. And Prahlad Maharaj prays here that may all the envious people be pacified. Yeah. That is a blessing that he asks from the Lord. And how they can become pacified? No, you cannot pacify an envious person. That's what Prabhupada actually Shastra says, right? That there's 2 kinds of envious people. One is a snake and one is envious person. So the snake, it can be pacified by some chanting of mantras or by some herbs like that. But the envious person can never be satisfied. The envious person will be always envious. Okay. So when Prahlad Maharaj prays here, may all those envious persons be pacified. Actually, he's asking for the change of their hearts. No? And instead of thinking about themselves and thinking how about their control and losing the control, they start to think about others, and they start to be thinking, okay, let me be kind, let me be merciful, let me be compassionate. Right? So there's a change of heart included. It cannot be just taken away or thrown away. So Yes. And we see that, the persons who have more control, actually, they are more envious and more eager for others to suffer. I mean, we can give very simple example from Shastra, from Srimad Bhagavatam is Indra. Okay, Indra becomes all the time in some way, I would say, disturbed. Now, if there is a yogi, if there is a devotee who makes some austerities, Indra is immediately disturbed because this yogi, he may take my position. I will lose my control. I will lose my position. Yeah. So he's always in anxiety, and he commits offenses against so many devotees, Indra, and he gets in so much trouble. Yeah. Because he doesn't want to relinquish this feeling of control. Yeah. So, going back, summarizing the whole thing, maybe. So, how we get rid of envy? No, first of all, you avoid people who value wrong things. Yeah, and shift your focus to the goodness in your life. Okay, whatever good is happening for you, whatever good you have, now focus to that. No, don't stay in this that I'm missing something, I'm lacking stuff. And then, be grateful. No, when you focus, when you notice the goodness, the good things will happen in your life, then be grateful for that. Okay. Now be grateful, thank the Lord, thank Krishna for that, thank other people for that. And then also spend time with similar grateful people, the people who understand. There is no luck in this universe. And we being maintaining, getting everything, getting clean air, clean water. Krishna supplies everything. Okay. And then be generous. If you're grateful, if you understand, okay, I have enough, and Krishna supplies. I can be generous. I can be actually giving others instead of taking from others. I don't have to be worrying all the time of what I don't have. I can be generous then. And then I can also just celebrate the success and happiness of others. I can connect with others who are happy, who have something good going in their lives, and I can celebrate it with them. I can be happy for them. And at the end, you be kind. Be kind and compassionate to others. It's maybe going going against our material nature, but with the praxis, we can do that also. So I think I said everything what I wanted. Maybe it was a little bit chaotic here, but I hope you got something out of that. And there's a question, Kaveshi, or comment, whatever it is, you want to say something.
Thanks. That was quite comprehensive. Just a question: if you have a very suspicious mind, suspicious and sort of, and the default is to challenge, would that fall under envy? In particular, when it comes to people in authority.
Well, you might have bad experience then you're suspicious. It doesn't necessarily come under the envy, but it may very easily slide into that. Okay. Because if you have suspicious mind, then you may start to tend to see faults where there are not actually there. Okay. It's like in Mahabharata, I don't have now the quotation here, but in Mahabharata, no, that's not Mahabharata. That's Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, I think in fourth canto of his commentaries to fourth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, he speaks about four kinds of good people and four kinds of bad people. Okay. So the four kinds of bad people is ones who always look for some mistakes in others. Okay, this naradama and so on. And if you stay in this mentality that you're suspicious and you're not trusting and so on, then you may start to look for the faults. And if there are no faults in those people, even you may even start to create them. Okay, and that's where you actually get really caught in this being envious. Yeah. So what I would suggest or recommend very strongly in such a situation, you just, if you don't trust someone, you just avoid them. Okay, even it is authority or someone who tries to make himself authority or whatever, you just avoid them. Okay, find someone else who you can actually follow, who you can open your heart, you can speak, freely with that person. Because otherwise, yeah, you may go in really heavy Vaishnava parada for no reason, actually.
But what if it also happens to people you trust? If it's just sort of the default of the mind, it's always, I don't know, going sort of into challenging mode. Is this really true? No.
You may try to ask for help, someone who can, find the cause for that, because there's always a cause. It's not that just mind starts to create stuff without any reason. Okay, so you can try to meditate about that. A very good way is when you notice those kind of thoughts in your mind, the suspiciousness, you concentrate on this thought or concentrate on your mind, whatever comes, whatever is strong, you really concentrate on that, and you chant Mahamantra in this place or in this feeling. That is what Padma Purana recommends. It's like you sending Krishna to this place and you're asking Krishna to resolve it for you. Okay, because you say, Krishna, I have no power here, I cannot do that. I tried maybe even and I failed. So you please take care of this. I don't want to have this mentality. Where is it coming from? Why it is there? And if you do it with a nice consciousness, nice attitude, you will be amazed how quickly you actually get answer. Where is it coming from? Here. This moment in your life, this is what has happened. And you may say, wow, okay, it's really no worth it. I just give it up. Or okay, you may do whatever you then please with that. But at least you will know where it comes from. And then when you know it, then it's much easier to actually change it to something positive or give it up.
Right, thank you. And can I have a second question?
Okay.
The other question is when you said being kind to everyone would be one way sort of dealing with envy. Again, sort of in my mind, I'm immediately thinking, well, for example, I run a service and sometimes I have to let people go. That's not really kind, but in a way that's something as part of your duty you have to do. How does that fit then with this concept of being kind to everyone?
Mm-hmm. So being kind to everyone doesn't mean that you supply what everybody wants. Yeah. Look, Krishna is kind to everyone. Okay, so one person gets $1 million, another person gets a brain cancer. How is it kind? So Krishna sees, okay, this person, to make progress, to actually move something in his or her life, they need money, and the other person, they need suffering. So the same in our service. Sometimes we need to allow people to make mistakes, to go through some suffering, to go through some whatever it is. Otherwise, if we save everyone all the time, we actually take away from their experience. Okay? They needed to experience something, and then we took it from them because we solved their problems. Okay? So sometimes being kind, you have to be a little bit hard on people for their own good. Okay? But you always have in mind the best interest. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Venuyaji?
I have two questions too. If I'm not aware if I'm envious on my spiritual master or not, how can I find out if I'm envious on my spiritual master or not?
Well, how you feel about your spiritual master? You know? Like when you see him speak, when you see him doing things, when he gives you advice or instruction, what happens then to you? Okay. You're thinking, wow, okay, that's my spiritual master. I love him and I want to please him. He's my connection to Krishna. Okay. Or you're thinking, wow, why and why he doesn't die now? You know, he's old, then I can be free, I can do, you know, he doesn't tell me that stuff anymore. Yeah. He's in the spiritual world and I can pray to him in the spiritual world. It's much easier than now. Okay. So all kinds of thoughts might be coming to your mind. And especially when you associate personally. Okay. Because sometimes when we are far away, you may have some ideas. Wow, my spiritual master is so far out, and oh, he's just walking in the sky with everybody else. But now, when we are together, and then you know he makes some sounds from up or from down, or you know he forgets things or something like that. That's actually when we realize, okay, what is our attitude towards our spiritual master? Am I really like, you know, appreciating his position, or I'm just seeing him as another guy, you know, who has his own faults and whatever else?
Oh, thank you. I hope I'm not envious. I hope. The second question is, I'm in a group of non-devotees. This is a group which is an alternative for the health insurance for me. It's a group which only meets via Zoom, and we are once a year we meet personally. We are around 20 people. I'm the only devotee, and now we have one new member. He has, for my feeling, a very strong false ego, and he cannot beherrschen the senses and the mind, not control the senses and the mind. And this before it was a really nice group, and now this one person is really disturbing this group, and I do not know how to act, how I myself as a devotee to send compassion and or to discuss it directly, but I don't feel mature enough to talk about false ego and something like this. As a male person and a little.
Yeah, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't do that. Explaining about false ego and surrender and humility to people who are not ready for that. Okay. Well, that's a very specific question. My suggestion would be to look into it. If you are only disturbed, or it means if you only feel like that, or more people feel like that, okay? Because maybe it has something to do with you, first of all. Okay, maybe you just don't like the style, or he reminds you about your first boyfriend, or who knows, okay? Yeah. So, yeah, check it first out like that. And if you find out that more people feel like that, and more people or people are uncomfortable, then what you can do, you can speak with others and say, let's speak with the guy. That's being kind to face him and say, okay, this and this and that. If you don't change your behavior in this way, then we have to kick you out. And that is the kindness here. Right? You're giving him feedback, so he can actually change something. He can answer. He can tell you, okay, no, I was really out of my mind, or I was always drunk, or whatever. He has some explanation, and you can listen to him. And the kindness is there. That it may be hard confrontation there, but at the end, if he changes, that means you save him more or less, because he starts to look differently on his life and doing something differently, maybe.
Thank you very much. It's more a problem of the group. It's a problem of not basically mine, but I observed it, and the problem is perceived through a couple of members of the group.
Yeah, so maybe you speak with few people, get some feedback, and then you just present it to this person in that way that that's the situation here. We have to deal with it. And you are a very articulate person. I think you can find proper words to do it.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Yeah.
Thank you for this class. I felt it was a very comprehensive way to speak about envy, so a lot of good points. Just today I was thinking about this control, because sometimes it helps that you understand the reason why this need is there, or some bad quality, or at least to me it helps. So I was just reflecting how perhaps part of this desire to control comes of this sense of, to be loved means to be controlled, or to love means to be controlled. So anyway, I was just reflecting on that, and I thought probably this is connected with that drive, that we just actually really are searching for love. But of course, material world is made in a way that this just gets frustrated, because obviously we cannot control anybody or anything properly. So that was just a thought that I have, maybe if you want to later comment. But I have also a question and another.
Okay, just I would comment on that.
Yes, you can.
To be loved is to be controlled. I don't agree with that. Okay.
I was just thinking about spiritual world, about how Krishna basically and actually all the residents of Vrindavan, they're just basically being controlled by their desire to serve. And
yes, but not because they are loved, but because they are in love.
Yeah,
a big difference. That is, yeah, as we spoke some time ago, no? About that, yeah. Why we don't want to fall in love with Krishna? Why we don't want to surrender? Right? Because we will lose the control. We will not be anymore in control. Yeah, we will be so much in love that we just do everything for this person, and that is also why we don't want to fall in love in this material world. Because I'm giving my life in somebody else's hands, right? I'm really giving. I'm losing control totally. I have to then trust that this other person will not misuse it. And the same thing is with Krishna. When we fall in love fully, we're losing ourselves. We cannot do anything. We are just searching for him. We just want his happiness and so on. So that is now this losing of control. That is actually a crucial point of developing bhakti, prema bhakti. And even falling in love in this material world, we can be very particular about that. It's like, oh, this much and not more, because then I lose control. Yeah. I'm just doing everything for the other person. And because we have so much, bad, bad experience here, that's what we're afraid of. Yeah. So that would be my comment to that.
I have more thoughts now. So anyway, because it's also all connected with the fact that everything is so based on manipulation, And therefore it's so hard to let go of the control, obviously, because we know we're being manipulated. So that kind of is one sense of protection, you know, to keep some control in relationships. So I had another thought about envy when you were speaking about how when we are not envious of another person, it just came that actually when we perceive envy from another person, there must be something in us that we're doing that may stimulate that as well. You know, because envy can be of different degrees, maybe like competition or jealousy, or, you know, there's different degrees. It's not always this harsh envy, you know, I just want to destroy the person and be mean. It can be very subtle. And actually many times when we perceive envy from another person, I feel that sometimes there is something in us that we are creating that kind of strive, because perhaps towards some very advanced Vaishnavas, there's not even any need that we want to feel envy, you know, like in the presence of some Vaishnavas, we will never have the desire or even thought to criticize anybody, because they just induce this mode in us that we would never dare to criticize others or, you know, feel envious of them, because there's no need. So anyway, that was a thought.
Okay, so I would say the common ground for all kinds of envy feelings, whether small or big or tiny, is the consciousness of lacking something. That we think that something is just not enough. Now, if this person will be more happy than me, then there's no enough happiness for me. No? If this person distributes more books or makes better service, then you know, there's this consciousness of lacking something. We're really caught into it, in it. You know? And that's where it starts. It's like, I lack something, there's some lack, I will lose control. Whoa. So that's a common, what do you say, ground? Common, you know.
Yeah. Just last question, sorry. So, which is very connected with that, you know, this need, or sorry, it was connected with what you just said. Feeling of never be, you know, advanced enough, you know, so from that big frustration can come, you know, that we always, that we're not satisfied with our progress, which is always good as well, but that can create a lot of dissatisfaction and then, of course, jealousy or whatever. So do you have some advice on how to deal with this lack of satisfaction with one's progress, spiritual progress, obviously?
Yes, that you're not making enough progress, that's maybe big stumbling block. Okay. But the problem is, I think maybe that was actually, because I forgot to mention one thing. And it's good Krishna sent you here for a reason. Because one very important process of getting rid of envy is forgiving others, yeah? And forgiving ourselves. Yeah. So like we see someone is doing better, and we have this consciousness of lacking something. It's very connected. When we forgive this person for having more, okay, that's how the envy can be released from our heart. Yeah, it's a very materialistic way, but it works very nicely. And then we need to forgive ourselves. That I was thinking like that, I was having these thoughts about this person. And that's where we're going into what you said. And I'm thinking I'm not doing enough progress. I'm feeling always this and that. No, everybody else is making better. I cannot get up. I cannot chant. And there, we get caught in all little downward spiral, actually. Okay? Because we just start to beat ourselves. Yeah? And that is where this forgiveness for our own self comes in. It's very important to forgive ourselves. We are in this material world since time immemorial. Prabhupada says always, right? Immemorial. There are millions, billions, trillions of lifetimes. Who knows? Okay? And now we are trying to do some progress in spiritual life. And some obstacles are coming, and our mind is trained through billions of lifetimes to do one thing, and now we're trying to do something else. Of course there will be problems. Of course then there will be feeling I'm not doing enough. I'm not doing enough spiritual progress. I'm not doing enough chanting. I'm not doing good chanting. Okay, I have all these material desires. Yeah, sure, they will be there. Okay? But we don't go about them. We don't purify them by beating ourselves, but by serving those devotees who are greater than us. And by this service, by their blessings, we will be developing the same qualities that they have. So what's the point of envy there? We're actually getting something from them by serving. Right? And if I understand this principle, the higher this devotee is, then I'm serving, I will also be higher because he will be pulling me up. So then actually I want to elevate someone. So I have this phone, I can elevate it. I can put it here. But if I want to elevate it more, then I have to get up and stand on something, and then I can elevate this phone more, right? So the same is with the devotee. If I want to get higher, I have to make this devotee higher also. So then also I have to step up, because otherwise I cannot glorify this devotee more. I cannot make him higher or her higher if I'm sitting here and trying, So if you understand all this, how nice it is, how great is this Vaishnava association? Everyone is, pulling up everyone. I'm pushing the one, he's pulling me up, and I'm pulling other people who pushing me up. How far out is this? What's the point of being envious about someone who is making more progress? You're making more progress? Jai! Let me assist you. Let me help you even more. And hopefully I get also some of this mercy that you're getting. And if I get mercy, then I can help you more. And I get maybe more mercy. This competition between Krishna and Radharani we hear about. That's how it works. Krishna wants the Radharani is more happy, and Radharani wants the Krishna is more happy, and they're both happiness just growing. So the same is in Vaishnava association. If you just elevate each other, we'll be all growing like anything. What is the point of being envious anywhere on this road, on this way, on this path? Did I answer your question? Anybody else wants to say something, some comment or? Share something from the heart, some realization. Oh, yeah. Very well.
Thank you for a very good topic. And the thing, like, we hear often all what you say, we hear over and over again. And for example, I try to work on that, but the envy keeps coming. So how then to make more efforts, or how to make better quality efforts? Because it seems also when you said about serving the ones we're envious about, but also see when I feel more miserable in my life, I could be envious almost about everyone. But when I feel quite happy about in my life, I feel it's enough for everyone, everything. So I also see this, as you said, with Mangala discussion, that the satisfaction, it's very big criteria also regarding the envy. So is it something for us to work on our like acceptance of life and being satisfied within our life, and then we naturally envy less, or first focus? I mean, because it's can be sometimes never-ending list of people we envious, because if my life I feel is miserable, then I'll be envious almost of everyone. But if I fix my life being more satisfied with what I have and who I am, then naturally I might be less envious. Is it something focused on that field better first? Because I started noticing that. So how then better to deal with that?
Well, I think it's important to understand, really realize it, that both happiness and distress, that's just both temporary. And they're all material feelings, especially here in this material world. If I saw somewhere Prabhupada writing, or it was, yeah, I think it was Prabhupada. He said, then unless we actually give up the envy, we cannot be equipoised. We cannot be same to the happiness and the distress. So where the happiness and distress comes from, I mean, turning it around, it would mean that actually it comes from envy. Yeah. And of course, it is, it's much more easy to be forgiving or compassionate or kind when you, feel happy and free. Okay. Yeah. It's much more easy. But actually, it's much more powerful when you do the same, when you're actually miserable. The power of that sacrifice is incredible. It takes you really up out of, all this misery. Yeah. Because you sacrificed your feelings, you sacrifice your mind, your ego, to be compassionate and to be kind to someone. Yeah. And then when you really feel like how you're getting elevated, how you're getting up from all your whatever was happening for you, then actually when you can actually really feel in your heart that all this doesn't matter. That you don't need to be envy, don't need to be angry with someone, and so on and so on. Yeah? That you can actually always choose to be kind and loving, and it will be very strong. It will make a very strong impression in your heart. Actually, it's like Krishna reciprocates much more when you are down than when you're up. Because when you're a millionaire, to build a temple or to give money around is easy, okay? But when you have nothing and still you're giving, that's actually what really matters. Krishna always looks not how much you give, but how much you have, how much you keep back. So when the miseries are coming and you feel really bad and so on, and still you out there helping others, that's where you make the actually fastest progress. I know it's not easy. I was there. But that's where the biggest mercy actually lays. And that's my personal experience as well. I hope it helps somehow.
Thank you.
Anyone else wants to share, say something? Some inspiration.
I can share. Hare Krishna.
Oh, Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you for this topic, because I think this is really something what I needed to hear. Okay. Yeah, so I was listening to a lecture of my Guru Maharaj, and he also said, he was speaking on this envy topic, and he said that appreciation is the opposite of envy. And this appreciation is the act of love and the bhakti, as it is. And he also was speaking about appreciation, and so easy to forget to appreciate what others do. You know, when things go smoothly and everything is done well, we take it for granted. Like, this is how it's supposed to be. But if something goes wrong, we immediately like find faults, and you know, yeah. So I just want to develop this appreciation in myself, you know, in daily things that devotees do around, like all these miracles and service. Just a reflection.
Yeah, nice. Thank you. Yes. Yeah, as I said, you know, when you're happy and you know it, it's easy, you know, it's easy. You can be so giving and so merciful and so forgiving, you know. But when when something goes wrong, you should be doing the same. And that's the hard part. But it's really rewarding if we do it anyway, or whatever the circumstances around. Okay. Yeah. When we start to appreciate everything, then we also develop the gratitude. Because we take so many things for granted. Yeah. Even our houses, or the water, you open the tap and water is coming. Yeah. How many people in the world, they open the tap and there's nothing coming? How many people, they don't have a tap? When you have to walk for the water for 6 miles to get some water and back to your home, then you really start to appreciate, you know, water. So the same, you know, sometimes, you know, we forget about that, and then that's the time actually when Krishna sends us some, you know. Oh, you know, you take everything for granted. What about that? If I take this and this and this and then, yeah. Then when you really start to appreciate and be grateful, you know, for all what we have, all the facilities, and association, all the knowledge.
So if you're not grateful enough, we'll get some suffering, right? It's like,
No.
you
will get a reminder. Why you see it as a suffering? It's a lesson. Krishna will remind you very kindly, you know. And yes, it's maybe unpleasant, yes. But look at this as a lesson. That you forgot something, like wake up call, like, oh, okay. I'm going back on my track. Yeah. Vanilla, you wanted something?
I have another question to improve my chanting, please. I see that during the chanting, most of the time I forget that Krishna and his name is the same. I try to think of Krishna, but I not often realize and think that that Krishna, that this name that now I associate with Krishna, that I forget most of the time. Do you have advice for me, please?
And so first of all, if you're saying you not always remember that Krishna is in his name and so on, this not always makes you already much more advanced than I think 90% of other devotees. Because most of us, you know, well, we have no realization like that. So
realization too.
So yes, it will be not always there. And actually, you know, okay, this may be the wrong direction. I don't go there. Yeah. But you know, the chanting of Hare Krishna is a prayer. Is a prayer. So why Krishna doesn't give you this realization all the time that he is in his name, that he's identical, that he's there? Okay, because otherwise, I guess same thing, appreciation. You wouldn't appreciate it so much. Okay, and chanting is the prayer, is a crying for the Lord. So if he is there, you wouldn't be crying for him. You would be just, okay, he's there. Okay, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Yeah. But Krishna wants us to cry for him. This Atma Krandana, the crying of the soul. That is why sometimes he gives you the mercy and you're fully feeling, you know, wow, I got it. And then he's withdrawing so that you feel the separation. And then you can cry more for him. Okay. So this will be happening, and we just need to keep trying and crying. The more feeling you put in the chanting, the more Krishna will be there for you. It's getting a little late, so at least in Europe. Unless someone has another question or a comment, I would say thank you very much for your association, for listening and for sharing. It's very inspiring. And see us next time, no? Hopefully. Hopefully the internet still works and Zoom still works and we all not die. No? Appreciation of what we have. Okay. Vancha kalpataru mishya kripasmi. Namo Namah. Jai Hare Krishna.
Hare, thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, Vipula Krsna.
Hari Hari. All the best.
You. Very well.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vipula Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.